Remember this from the debate? Let's play cut 75.
Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime.
And that is true. They lacked data from, I don't know, Los Angeles, not exactly the safest city in America. And then also the National Crime Victimization Survey run by the Bureau of Justice Statistics and administered by the Census Bureau found that urban violent crime increased 40% from 2019 to 2023, excluding simple assault. The urban violent crime rate rose 54% over that span. Heather, your reaction?
Well, that's true. I think Trump is a little exaggerating. Yes, LA is not in the FBI numbers, but they get a lot of agencies. But again, the real issue here, Charlie, is are you looking at national figures, which homogenizes what's going on in cities? Because the urban crime rate is much, much higher. And when are you measuring from? You know, a 3% decrease nationally in crime last year does not erase the massive increase in all forms of crime, property crime, carjacking, violent crime that we saw starting in 2020. So the FBI, I think fraud is a little bit extreme. I don't think it's trying to hide the numbers. It has shifted its data collection methods, but it's getting that more in sync. The problem is how you spin what are fairly good numbers and what you're comparing to. And if you're living in a city, believe your eyes, don't believe the mainstream media. Believe your eyes when you see the looting, the shoplifting, the sense of entitlement, the absence of any kind of fear of law enforcement. The videos are not telling lies, they're telling the truth. We are living in a long-term disintegration of the expectations of law and order. We have capitulated to the forces of anarchy. And we don't need to do this. We need to turn it around because you cannot have a civilization when property owners, when store owners cannot assume that their employees are safe and that their goods are safe. Nobody should apologize for defending property. You know, you get the AOCs of the world during the George Floyd race riot saying, well, you know, they're just businesses. They've got insurance to cover their losses. No, I'm sorry, that is not correct. If government cannot protect not just lives, but the expectation that property is secure and that businesses can operate in security with their customers, there is no more civilization.
That is well said. Heather, if Donald Trump wins the presidency, what can a president do about a local urban crime spree, if anything?
Well, Charlie, that's a very essential distinction. By and large, crime is a matter of local policies. What the police are going to enforce, are they told to ignore illegal behavior because it you know, again, has a disparate impact if they go after street criminals? Are prosecutors saying they're not going to enforce the law? But what really matters is the rhetoric from the White House, is the tone set by the president, and the tone that was set first by Obama and then by Biden.
A lot of that has to do with the economy.
Excuse me?
No, I'm sorry. I think that was just some audio feedback. Please continue. Sorry about that.
It's not, what I heard was a lot has to do with the economy, and I will tell you that is not correct. That is the biggest lie. These kids that are out there on the street corners shooting each other, they all have smartphones. Despite what the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, says is when you get these rampaging youth on the Magnificent Mile on Michigan Avenue downtown, that, well, the problem is they don't have opportunities. That is total BS. They all have smartphones. Social media is the police's best friend because all these kids throw their gang signs, they show off their loot, they show off their guns on social media. Any child that has a smartphone is not deprived of opportunities. Crime is actually almost inversely correlated with economic opportunities. We saw in the 60s, it was a strong economy. Urban crime started going through the roof because we started excusing bad behavior on the theory of you should not blame victims. The Depression was the greatest economic trauma in this country's history. Crime was virtually absent. So crime is not a function of economic need.
I
It's
totally
a function
agree.
of greed. It's a function of greed. And now I'm getting your problem
I'm
here,
sorry.
Charlie.
I somehow gave it to you over the air. That's a remarkable
air.
feat of epidemiology. I've never seen such a thing. Heather, great work. And I will summarize it, which is crime is because of bad values, not because of lack of stuff. And a society deciding to not enforce laws otherwise says that crime is a choice, both to commit it and to allow it.